Did I not tell you yesterday? Did I not tell you yesterday that we needed to win last night? And what happened? 21-point loss. At the Q. Tying the series. Oh my God! More airtime of LeBron's junk and his busted head than key points. And I will say this right off the bat. You live by the 3, you die by the 3! Every play, every chance they got behind the arc, what did they do?
Curry for 3. LeBron for 3. Dellavedova for 3. Miss. James for 3. Miss. Moscow for 3. Miss.
Don't go for 3-pointers! You win in the paint! You win in the paint! You win in the paint! Big series in Detroit tonight between the Tigers and the Indians. The Mud Hens could not get anything started. Taking an early lead in Pawtucket, couldn't get anything going. And we preview the weekend in sports. All right here on All Andy Alfred, because I love you guys, and welcome to All Andy Alfred, right here on your exclusive home for me, a production of Clickband 2, 3. I am your host, Andy Alfred, welcoming you into the program, welcoming you into the Man Cave Studios, rocking the orange. It's a Falcon Friday afternoon here in the beautiful city of Toledo, Ohio. Got some severe weather in the forecast tonight. Thank goodness there is no Mud Hen game in action tonight at Fifth Third Field. Be a nice calm evening at the ball yard while these severe storms are supposed to be rolling through the area. And today on the program we'll talk a little bit about the Women's World Cup. Unfortunately, we'll talk a little bit about that because I'm going to go on a little bit of a spew with Andy Rants. Also, we'll talk and preview the NHL Final Game 5 on Saturday, as well as the East Coast Hockey League Kelly Cup Final for the 4th time in its history, going to a Game 7. We'll also preview the baseball weekend ahead as well, too, and talk about the Mud Hens. But first and foremost, oh my God! LeBron's junk made more of a statement in the game than the Cavaliers did throughout the game. The camera guy LeBron running into the camera guy, busting his head open. And then the fact that, I'm wearing this orange today, not just because of Falcon Friday, which is a great idea if you're a BG person, but the Florida Marlin fan from the World Series was behind the bench of the Golden State Warriors. Are you kidding me? How did this guy afford the tickets? That's a $600 ticket behind the bench. How does this guy afford it? You have got to be kidding me. Last night, of course, we're watching, like most of you were, including me, 103-82 victory for the Golden State Warriors at the Q. Oh my God. I'm worried. Like I said, it's a best of 3 series now, and 2 games are in Golden State. Cleveland fans, I'm telling you now, be prepared for the worst. Sure, if they step up in Game 5 and they go and beat the Warriors at Oracle and then come back to the Q and do the same performance that they had in Game 3, lights out. Party time. But when you play the next 2 games in Golden State, I am extremely worried. And the way that Dellavedova was last night, looked like the cold cuts were rotten for the Cavs. LeBron looked horrible. And the big key question is he going to go to the headband now after that big cut? I think it must be done. He got some glue on it. Got back out on it after halftime. Oh, unbelievable. Timothy Moskov was the leading points getter last night for the Cavs. He had 28 points, 10 rebounds, 1 assist. Draymond Green for the Golden State Warriors had 17 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists. The Cavs could not get a lead going throughout the game. They only led in the first quarter. It was all Golden State. All Golden State. Even though the Cavs outscored them in the third quarter, 28-22, in the fourth quarter alone, Golden State had 27 to Cleveland's 12. Unbelievable. Steph Curry, field goals made and attempts 8 of 17. He was 4 for 7 behind the 3-point arc. He had 6 assists and 2 rebounds. LeBron James, 7 for 22. Oh, that's horrible line. 1 for 4 from 3-point range. Oh! 12 rebounds, 8 assists. Dellavedova, 3 for 14. 2 for 9 for 3-point range. 4 assists, 1 steal, 1 rebound. Delly was not in the game that much. He was cramping. J.R. Smith from the bench came on. He was 2 for 12, 0 for 8 from 3-point lane. The Cavs were just outplayed by the Warriors. They were just outplayed. LeBron James got outplayed by Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. Unbelievable. And now we go back to Golden State for Game 5. Like I said, Cav fans, be prepared for the worst. I'm still saying Cavs in 6. But if the Cavs win Game 5, then you know they might win Game 6, and they could prove me right. But right now, it looks like it could go 7, or it could go the Golden State in 6. And I really don't want to see that. This city, the city of Cleveland, and the state of Ohio deserves a championship in professional sports. Not a national championship in football. We will give the Buckeyes due credit for that. But in my opinion, the Cavs have got to step up to the plate and get going here in this playoffs. 20,562. 2 hours and 37 minutes took to play the game. And by the way, Joe Crawford's got to wake up and start calling the plays right. You know, he's got to wake up. Definitely got to wake up. So Game 5, Sunday night, 8 o'clock tip on ABC. Well, let's hope that the Tigers can help out, or let's hope the Indians can help out the Cleveland fans' woes as they take on a pivotal series against the Motor City Kitties and the Detroit Tigers. Tonight on the hill will be David Price. He's 5-2 with a 2.70 ERA. We'll get to the starting lineups for the game tonight for the Tigers. For Cleveland tonight, on the bump, let's go over the Tigers starting lineup. It will be Rajay Davis leading off. He's the DH. Ian Kinsler batting second. Miggy is batting third. Yoenis Cespedes at left field. He'll be batting fourth. Tyler Collins fifth. He'll be batting fifth in right field. Nick Castellanos at third base. He'll be batting sixth. James McCann batting seventh. He'll be catching this evening. Jose Iglesias at shortstop. He'll be batting eighth. And Goes will be batting ninth. He is the center fielder tonight. For the Tribe, it will be Danny Salazar on the hill, 6-1 with a 3.50 ERA. And here's who Terry Francona will throw out for the Indians. The leading off will be Jason Kipnis. He'll be batting first at second base. Carlos Santana at first. He will be batting second. Michael Brantley, center fielder, will be batting third. Ryan Rayburn batting fourth, left field. Nick Swisher is the DH this evening. He'll be batting fifth. Jan Gomes, the catcher, he'll be batting sixth this evening. Brandon Moss. Hey, what's your favorite kind of moss? Mine's Brandon. Batting seventh out in right field here. Ursula will be batting eighth. He's at third base. And Mike Aviles at shortstop batting ninth tonight. Looking at the rotation for the rest of the series, here's what the Tigers are going to throw out for the rest of the series, as well as the Tribe. Tomorrow, Justin Verlander getting his first start of the season for the Detroit Tigers. He will take on a very good pitcher for the Cleveland Indians tomorrow, in Carlos Carrasco, I believe. Carrasco and Verlander tomorrow. 4:08 start time. That game on Fox Sports Detroit or on ST Fox Sports Time Ohio. In the concluding game of the series, it will be Alfredo Simon taking on Corey Kluber. That's a great pitching matchup for that one. And then after that, the Tigers will host the Cincinnati Reds in a quick 2-game series before heading down to Cincinnati to finish the series up against the Reds. The Reds will throw out John Mosca on Monday, and Michael Lorzani will start for the Reds on Tuesday. But this is a big pivotal matchup for the American League Central for the Tigers this weekend. The Tigers have got to get going because of how the alignment falls in the playoff standings. And looking at the rest of what's happening in baseball for the rest of the weekend, here are some of the notable games happening in the American League Central and also in Major League Baseball. The Yankees are in Baltimore tonight. That's a 7:05 first pitch. Philadelphia is in Pittsburgh, 7:05 start time. Atlanta is in New York at the Mets, 7:10 start time. The White Sox are in St. Pete at 7:10. Colorado is at Minnesota. Toronto is at Boston. Minnesota will be on the road. They'll take on the Texas Rangers. Washington and Milwaukee. Also Seattle and Houston. Kansas City will be in their counterpart city in Missouri, the St. Louis Cardinals. That is an 8:15 start time for that one. Late games, of course, are the Dodgers and the Padres. 10:10 start time for that one. And the Angels are hosting the Oakland Athletics. Arizona and San Francisco is 10:15 this evening. So those are the big pivotal matchups. We have one game going on as we speak right now as we're on the air. It is the Chicago Cubs and the Cincinnati Reds at Wrigley Field. And we're in the top of the seventh. The score is tied at 4. So we'll see what happens with that big series for the Reds right there to take on the Cubbies. Looking at the American League Central standings going into tonight's play and into this weekend's play, this is what the standings look like. The Detroit Tigers are in third place with a record of 31-29, 4.5 games out of first place. Kansas City is running away right now with a record of 34-23, first place. Minnesota is 2 games back behind them. They're 33-26. Detroit in third, 31-29. Chicago, the White Sox, are 28-30, 6.5 games out of first place. Cleveland is 28-31, 7.5 games out. This is why I say this. This is a pivotal series for the Indians, because if the Indians want to get back into the race and get back going, up 2-3 against Detroit or a sweep of Detroit will get you back into the hunt, especially how Tampa Bay has been playing. They're playing the White Sox. The White Sox could lose the series to Tampa Bay this weekend, and Cleveland can get back into the hunt, get themselves back into shape to get them into a playoff position. Looking at the rest of the American League, the Yankees are in first place with a record of 33-26. Houston is still in first place in the West. They're 34-27, 2.5 games behind them is the Texas Rangers. Tampa Bay is 32-29, 2 games out of the East. In the National League Central, St. Louis is 39-21. The Cubs are 6 games behind them in the National League Central with a record of 32-26. The Red Legs are 27-32, 11.5 games out of first place. So this is a big pivotal series for the Red Legs as well too. So big series this weekend at Comerica Park. 7:05 start time to 7:08 start time on Fox Sports Detroit or Fox Sports Time Ohio. 4:08 on Saturday and 1:08 on Sunday. Well, McCoy Stadium hosted a slugfest last night. Excuse me. You're watching all Andy Alfred, by the way, as I take a swig of water right here on Clay Fan 2-3. Let's talk a little bit about the Mud Hens last night. After taking a 3-2 lead in the third inning, Pawtucket scores 1 in the 5th and 1 in the 6th to beat the Mud Hens, and beating them 5-3. Looking at the box score in this game, the pitcher was Todd for Pawtucket. He now goes to 2-2 with a 5.28 ERA. Crewson gets the loss for Toledo. He's now 1-1 with a 2.08 ERA. Light gets his first save of the season. Dixon Machado went yard in the game, his third of the year, and Jackie Bradley Jr. homered for the Pawtucket Red Sox, his fourth of the season. Looking at some of the lines for the game last night, Xavier Avery had not a good night. He did drive in a run. He struck out twice. He was batting a .290. Looking at Mike Hesped, he went 1 for 3 with a single, 2 strikeouts. Leonardton, 2 for 4 with 2 singles in the game. Dixon Machado bringing in most of the runs for the Mud Hens. Jackie Bradley Jr. went 2 for 3 in the game with a home run and a hit. Time of the game, 2 hours and 33 minutes, 4,942 at the stadium. Buck Farmer went 5 innings giving up 6 hits with 3 runs, and all 3 runs earned, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts, and 1 home run. Good outing for Buck Farmer last night. Just Todd, 6 innings, 5 hits, 3 runs, all 3 of them were earned, 6 strikeouts, and 1 home run. Well, tonight the Mud Hens will get back into action. They'll take on the Pawtucket Red Sox in this 4-game series. Game 2 tonight, it will be on the bump for the Paw Sox's Couch, who is 3-6 with a 4.73 ERA. The Mud Hens will throw out Thad Weber. He is 4-3 with a 4.02 ERA. 7:05 start time. You can listen to that game on 1230 WCWA or watch it on MILB.TV. You can watch that game if you have the package. Looking at some scores from around the International League yesterday evening, we had a few games. We had some of them were day games. We had the doubleheader in Buffalo, of course, against the Charlotte Knights. Looking at yesterday's scores around the International League, the Clippers are continuing to roll right now. They beat the Syracuse Chiefs at Huntington Park in extra innings, 2-1. Tejada gets the win, Davis the loss. Scranton Wilkes-Barre a 9-2 victor over the Rochester Red Wings. Lehigh Valley losing to Norfolk 4-3. Indianapolis a 4-2 victor over the Gwinnett Braves. Durham a 6-3 victory over the Louisville Bats, and like I said, a doubleheader, and the Buffalo Bison win the second game of the double dip 4-2. And they win both doubleheaders 7-3 and 4-2 to that last night. Now, looking at the schedule for tonight, this is what the games are going to be in action this evening. The Mud Hens, like I said, are in Pawtucket. It will be Lehigh Valley versus Norfolk, 7:05 start time for that one. Durham is in Louisville. That's Axelrod versus Florio. In Lehigh Valley, Norfolk, it is Morgan versus Bowen. It will be Rochester and Scranton Wilkes-Barre. Orlando versus DePaula. Gwinnett and Indianapolis, that's a 7:15 start time. That's Whistler versus Sampson. And then Walters versus Murdana at 7:15 at Huntington Park. Looking at the standings going forward to tonight's game and into this weekend's action, this is what the standings look like. The Mud Hens are now 11.5 games out of first place with a record of 27-34. 11.5 games out of first place. Louisville is now 31-30. 7.5 games out of first place. Columbus is 32-29. 6.5 out, while Indianapolis still leads the division with a record of 39-23. Pawtucket now improves with their win yesterday against the Mud Hens. Now go to 30-31. 4.5 games out of first place. Scranton Wilkes-Barre is still in first place with a record of 35-27. So the Mud Hens in Pawtucket, that will conclude the series on Sunday. And looking at the rest of the rotation for the Mud Hens going forward after tonight's game on Saturday, it will be Derek Hankins, who's 1-1 with a 6.55 ERA. Johnson will start for Pawtucket. He is 6-4 with a 2.66 ERA. And then in the concluding game on Sunday, it will be Owens for Pawtucket, who is 2-5 with a 3.64 ERA, taking on Belfiore, who's 2-7 with a 6.75 ERA. The Mud Hens have not yet named the starters for the series. After that, they'll head up to New York to take on the Syracuse Chiefs in a 3-game series. Syracuse has named the starters for Game 1 and Game 2 of the series. In Game 1 of the series, it will be Jordan for Syracuse, who is 1-3 with a 3.71 ERA. Mud Hens not have yet named a starter. And Espino will start for Syracuse in Game 2. He's 1-0 with a 1.63. Well, we'll break that down on Monday's edition of All Andy Alfred, the big series for the Mud Hens in Syracuse before returning home to take on the Norfolk Tides in a quick 4-game series. Now, tomorrow night, 8 o'clock on NBC or preferably on CBC, it is the Stanley Cup Final, Game 5. Series is tied at 2 games apiece. It is a best of 3 for the Cup. Can Chicago rally in and beat Tampa Bay in Tampa Bay to force the Game 6 to win it at home against the Tampa Bay Lightning? Will Tampa win the game and force Chicago to win at home to force the Game 7 back at Tampa? It all comes down to this, folks. The best of 3 for the Stanley Cup. The best of 3 to win the NBA Finals. You gotta love this time of year, folks. This is the best time of year for sports. Ben Bishop will not start for the Tampa Bay Lightning. He is still out with an illness. They have not yet named it, of course, yet. So the rookie goaltender from Tampa Bay, Volskinov, will start for Tampa Bay in Game 5. We'll see what happens with him in Game 5. He didn't get that much of a barrage in Game 4, but he, especially in the first period when they were only allowed 2 shots on the rookie goaltender. But we will see what happens. Game 5 tomorrow night on NBC, preferably on CBC if you have it. 8 o'clock start time for that one. Pre-game time, I think, at 7 o'clock or 6:30, I believe, on NBC SN. Well, let's talk a little bit about what's happening in Glendale, of course. The Coyotes are, I think, on the move again, like I mentioned this before. And I think they're going to be moving to Quebec. Either that or they move the franchise to Las Vegas. Could you see that, folks? Could you see that? I could. I could really see that happening. We shall see. The committee is still talking about it. They're going to plan to take a vote next week in City Council. We'll find out what happens. It'll be interesting to see what the dynamics of the NHL will be like going forward this rest of the season. Well, Sunday, 7:05 Eastern Standard Time, the Kelly Cup Final in the East Coast Hockey League could be determined as the champion. Who will be the champion? Will it be the new Allen Americans from the old CHL? Or will it be Jeff Jakaitis, Simpson, and the South Carolina Stingrays? Personally, I like both teams. I like to see the new team come in and win the cup, but I also like to see South Carolina come and win it as well. So I'm a general neutral team. I will pick neutral, but with it being at Allen, I have to take the Americans by a slim edge. This is the 4th time in East Coast Hockey League history that the cup will be determined in its 27-year history, will be determined in a Game 7. Pivotal Game 7. I think. I mean, it's a big game. If you're in Allen, Texas, go to it. Fill the stadium. Rock and red. And if you're in South Carolina and you're going to watch it at the viewing party, fantastic. I'll be following you along on Twitter and maybe on iHeartRadio as well, too. Listen to some of the game as well. Be interesting to see what happens tomorrow on Sunday night for the Kelly Cup. And then we can get into new business. Especially, if you haven't heard yet, Joe Napoli has relinquished presidency of the two teams. He will still be the president of Toledo Sports Inc. But now we have two general managers in the new rankings of both the Toledo Walleye and the Toledo Mud Hens. And personally, I like the decision to finally get away from being the head guy from both teams. Focus in on just one core thing, And I like the idea. I like the idea. And going over some of the news and notes from this big thing from the Mud Hens. Throat's kind of itchy because after all, I was yelling at the TV all night last night because of how bad the Cavs were. Oh, let's see here. Gotta love live radio. You gotta love live webcasting. Yes, the Mud Hens and the Walleye have announced the new naming of general managers for the Mud Hens and the Toledo Walleye. So now, the new general manager for the Mud Hens, his name is Eric Ilsben, was named the position of the executive vice president and general manager of the Toledo Mud Hens, and Neil Newcomb is now the new vice president and general manager of the Toledo Walleye. And this is a quote from Miller. Both Esben and Necrom are integral to our success. Combined, they both have 4 decades of experience. They have begun their sports careers as interns with the Mud Hens, progressing through the organization, talking more responsibly. Eric and Neil were instrumental in getting Fifth Third Field, Huntington Center, Hensville built, and the Walleye's establishment. They understand the culture and care deeply about the people they work with and for the fans who support us. And I know they will continue to play essential roles with our organization. That's Mike Miller, board chairman of the Mud Hens and the Walleye. And he also says that Joe's commitment, drive, and leadership has been instrumental in evaluating the Mud Hens and Walleye from sports teams to community treasures. His vision has been dedication as well as involvement in the community that we serve to be assets as our organization and continue to grow in a positive direction. Necrom joined the Mud Hen organization in '93 and most recently served as an assistant general manager and cooperative partnership. He also has key roles in securing naming rights, partnerships for Fifth Third Field, Huntington Center, and the Winterfest, and creating a relationship with local, regional, and national companies who have supported both teams and will continue to fulfill that role. Duncan becomes the second general manager second GM for the Toledo Walleye. So good for him. Congratulations. So new management for the Walleye. I've said it all along. You gotta have Napoli out of the cave of the whole situation. You have to have Napoli out of the whole situation. Oh, be interesting. You're watching All Andy Alfred right here on ClayFan23, presented by carrythefifthline.tumblr.com. If you have a question or comment for the show, tweet the show. It is at All Andy Alfred. It is at All Andy Alfred, or comment below. So we're doing this show as a tape delay. We were gonna do this show live, but we're gonna put it on tape delay. We will have a live show on Tuesday's edition of All Andy Alfred, as we will get you set, possibly for Game 6 of the NBA Finals. Well, let's talk a little bit about the World Cup. And first and foremost, let's begin with this. It's time for Andy Rants. Hope Solo is a piece of dirt. Let me repeat that again. Hope Solo is a piece of dirt. After the whole litigation and her injuring her family, her sister, her cousin, what have you, and being charged, and those charges then being dropped, the prosecutor is now opening the case again. Good move. And it's a joke. It is an absolute joke what the U.S. Women's National Team and the U.S. Soccer Federation is doing. Absolutely a joke. Her husband gets caught with a DUI. Driving a U.S. national soccer van. He gets caught with a DUI. And then they catch her with something and she gets 30 days of suspension. Hey, here's an idea for you. After all the litigation that's going on right now, and we're considering the option. We're considering all options, and we will make a full decision as soon as we have all the evidence. Hope Solo probably went to the committee that was there, told them a bullshit lie. Fed them with bullshit. As I said it, bullshit. Filled them with bullshit. To not letting the other family members say what they had to say. There is injuries, and the outside line, the Lions report from it, Keith Olbermann did a fabulous job of it. Fabulous job of it. Calling it out. And every time United States Women's National Team steps on the field and Hope Solo is on the field, you go to my Facebook or go to my Twitter page, @Andy Alfred, you will see the Keith Olbermann film. And I suggest to you, the fans, to go out and protest against Hope Solo. Domestic violence is not a great thing. I have seen friends of mine, I have heard of friends of mine, and I have seen friends of mine in domestic violence situations. It is not a great thing to look at. It is not a great idea to talk about. Sure, no means no. Or to the moon, no. Absolutely not. In my understanding of this, women are supposed to be treated like fine wine. You're supposed to treat them with respect and dignity. But what happens if the woman treats their family, their husband, their own children with violence? What does that mean? It's still domestic violence. No matter what. No means no. And I don't want to. And domestic violence is such a key thing in sports now, with the whole Ray Rice situation, with the Randy Moss situation, and the Adrian Peterson situation. I am just sick and tired of it. Someone needs to be held responsible, and she, on an international stage, should be accountable for it. The same with the FIFA officials. The women officials, that's different. The men officials, who are absolutely crooks, should be accountable. But the key thing is that Hope Solo needs to ride solo into the wind and get out and either resign, or sit on the bench. I cannot see and I cannot stand celebrities and especially athletes who get away with everything that they can. I cannot sit by, honestly, anymore. And I have to say it. I have to say it. If those people if they do those things to the same people, like their families, their own children, their husbands, their wives, they do that to them, they should get the same treatment when they go to prison. They should be beat up. Hell, Hope Solo should be in a part of the Orange is the New Black. And that's Andy Rants. Team USA kicks off tonight, 8 o'clock, against Nigeria. You know what that means. I'm posting the video. Probably right after I do this show. Post it up. Protest Team USA. Even though, and the bad thing is, there's so many great players on the Abby Wambach and others are just so great. And one person is one person is deflating the whole thing. The whole thing. It's unbelievable. I literally say to you, I cannot stand it anymore. Australia is up 2-0 on Nigeria at the 81st minute of the Women's World Cup. Looking at some of the scoring from yesterday, Canada played New Zealand to a 0-0 draw. Thailand a 3-2 victory over the Ivory Coast. China a 1-0 victory over the Netherlands. And Germany and Norway ended in a 1-1 draw. 7 o'clock, of course, Sweden takes on Ecuador. The United States takes on Sweden at 8 o'clock. Japan takes on Cameroon. And then tomorrow in the Women's World Cup will be France and Colombia, England versus Mexico, Brazil versus Spain, and Korea against the Korean Republic of Korea. So we'll see what happens with that. Well, a little bit further away from where I'm at right now here in Toledo, Ohio, in the Irish Hills of Brooklyn, Michigan, is the Pure Michigan 400. It's MIS International Speedway, where this weekend the Irish Hills will be roaring with passion as NASCAR comes a calling to the Irish Hills. Casey Kane has won the pole for the Pure Michigan 400. Looking at some of the leaderboard for this big weekend, he wins the pole this weekend. The full qualifying results are as followed. Casey Kane will get the pole position, and riding second to him in the front lane at Michigan International Speedway, as it's pulling up as we speak. And Kane is a very likable person, and he drives the number 5 Great Clips car. By the way, Great Clips, gotta love the ladies at Great Clips. Cut my hair. Even though they always say, "Oh, it's a 5-minute chop shop," blah 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 blah. Brad Keselowski qualified third for the race. Kevin Harvick qualifies in second. No, excuse me. Kevin Harvick won the pole. It'll be Brad Keselowski qualified third, followed by Carl Edwards driving the number 19 Toyota. Will be in fourth. Ryan Blaney will be in fifth. He drives the number 21 Wood Brothers Ford. Looking at some of the 43 other cars, the other 43 cars that are in the lineup for the qualifying and how they finish. We'll see how Gordon finished up as well too today. It will be, like I said, Casey King, Kevin Harvick on row 1. Row 2 will have Brad Keselowski and Carl Edwards. Ryan Blaney will be 5th. Jeff Gordon is in 6th. He will race 6th. Austin Dillon 7th. Jimmy Johnson, it will be riding 8th in the number 48 Lowe's Cobalt 2 Chevrolet. Martin Truex Jr. 9th, Kyle Busch 10th, and Joey Logano 11th. Matt Kenseth will be 12th, Denny Hamlin 13th. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is in 14th position, and he will be riding alongside Denny Hamlin. 15, 16 will be Kyle Larson and Tony Stewart. Paul Menard and David Reagan will run up. Danica Patrick is 19th. She finished 19th in qualifying. She'll be in 19th before going in. And Sam Hornish Jr. finishes 30th. He will be in the race as well too this weekend. And Mike Bliss rounding out the number 42 and 43 will be Matt Del Blanco driving the Burger King Toyota. So we'll see what happens with that. The ARCA race is going on tonight as well too, and the Xfinity Series will be happening Saturday, but the Pure Michigan 400 on Sunday. So that's going to be interesting. A full weekend of sports happening in the Northwest Ohio area. Of course, the Tigers and Indians battling each other. Of course, with the Michigan 400, the Pure Michigan 400 happening as well too. A great sports weekend in the Northwest Ohio, Southeast Michigan area. Well, on Monday's edition of All Andy Alfred, we will we'll recap the weekend that was, of course, the NHL final, as well as the NBA finals, and recap the weekend for the Tigers and Indians series as well too. And Monday's edition of All Andy Alfred features a special Mud Hens batting average update presented by Dr. Zuhari in Fisher's office and in Rossford, Ohio. It's going to be a very interesting show. We'll see what happens with that. We might have an idea of who's going to win the championships come Sunday night. That's going to wrap it up for All Andy Alfred. We will not be on the air tomorrow or Sunday. I'll see you on Monday for another edition of All Andy Alfred. And as always, go Cavs! Go Tigers! Roar! Go Tribe! If you're a Tribe fan. Let's go Hens! Get some wins in McCoy Stadium. Let's go Hawks. Or let's go Lightning. Your choice. And go Carl, go! Until Monday, I'm Andy Alfred. I hope you have a terrific weekend. And, as always, I'm pulling for you. We're all in this together. The game of life. And to the teams behind me, and to your team that you root for at home as well. Victory is sweetest when you have tasted defeat. Have a good evening, everybody, and a great weekend. Enjoy it. I'll see you on Monday for another edition of All Andy Alfred, because I love you guys. Talk to you guys on Monday. See you then.